Hello, this is Gio, and I want to stick in a new electrical box with a receptacle right here. And this is a drywall wall, and it's not quite finished. It's kind of in an attic area that is being refurbished. The red little stuff you see there is not blood. It is just old paint. So but I do, since it hasn't been painted in the past, I do see some old drywall screws right here, and so I know that there's a stud here, and so I was hoping to put it on this side of the stud. And I do know there's some existing power lines that I could use for the outlet, so I have to be a little bit careful there, but the first step is to install a new outlet box. So, when installing a new electrical outlet box in drywall, you have to get a special type of box, one that goes into existing drywall. Since we don't have just bare studs, we have to get a special type of box. And this kind of electrical box, you kind of stick in, and after you stick it in through the drywall, you cut out a hole first of all, and then you stick it in, and then screw these things up. And so when you screw and rotate these, and then tighten them up, it actually holds it against the drywall. So there's two of them on both sides, and you could just stick them in, and it actually secures really nicely. And I kind of want to be against the stud because I kind of like that extra support, so I'm going to make sure that it's against the stud, but I'm not actually going to screw it into the stud. It's going to be held with these little plates. But I do fortunately have a little clue about this wall. I do know it's drywall, but I do have this exposed element against the wall that I want to go into, and it does appear that there's actually particle plywood behind the drywall. So that makes things a little more complicated. I'm going to have to cut through this plywood, and looking at my box, this particular box with the tab doesn't quite do the entire thickness. So there's a 1/2 inch of drywall and a 1/2 inch of plywood. So this won't quite do it. So I'm glad I had this little clue, because I do have another drywall box here. Let me just pop this up a little bit, and you can see this one can go a little bit deeper. So I'm going to use this box instead, just because it could hold against the plywood. So again, I do fortunately have these little drywall screw marks as a guide, but I just want to verify that there is indeed a stud there. So I have my little stud finder. I turn on, and I move slowly, and there it is. So right about there is my stud, and I'm going to mark right there. And just to verify the other side, indeed. So I do have a stud right there, and so my little hole there is kind of centered. So that's where my stud is. So I'm going to make the hole on this side and just verify where that is after I drill a hole. So I want my new receptacle box to be centered about 15 inches above the floor here. So I'm just going to mark 15 inches right there. And then I know my stud's right about here, give or take. So I'm just going to kind of put this face in, generally against the stud, and I may have to move this depending on what I actually find, and kind of mark all sides of this box opening so I know kind of the size that I want to make it. And there's that. And so I'm going to just take a level here and make sure that everything is level. And just enlarge it a little bit. And that's my preliminary hole. Okay, my next step is just to make a hole kind of in the center here, so so I know there's electric wires back here, so I want to be very careful cutting these, and I've already turned off the power to these lines, and so I'm just going to use a 2-inch drill bit, just centered right here, and first I'm just going to cut the drywall. This is just the paper of the drywall. So next, I want to very carefully cut through the plywood. When I get to about this depth, I should be pretty close to getting through. So I want to stop before I get too far. Now I didn't cut all the way through the plywood. I'm a little concerned about the wires. I don't want to cut them. So I'm pretty close to it, so I'm just going to use a hammer to pop out the rest. And I doubt it if I can. I may or may not be able to get this out of here, but we'll see. Oh, it fell, but it's fine. Now I have a clean hole, and now I can see inside. Okay, so one thing I have is this little mirror tool. I could kind of look around to see where the wires are, and indeed I do see 3 wires. And here, let's see if I could zoom in here and show you these wires. You can kind of see one of them there, but there's 3 wires, and I'm actually right by the stud, so I'm happy with that. I got the stud right where I want it, and so I'm going to enlarge this hole, being careful with the wires. And there you go. So I just enlarged a little bit on that side just to test out that is the right size, and it does fit nicely. And so I'll take this out for now and get the wires through. Okay, the lights are out a little bit while I do this one bit, stringing these wires through the box, the pool. Make sure the wires are coming with it. Okay, there it is. Now I'm going to tighten up this part. And again, the way you tighten up you just twist it clockwise and then keep on turning, and eventually that little tab will sit firmly against, in this case, the plywood, but most cases it's the drywall. So now I can feel it tighten. This one, same deal, is clockwise until it stops, and then just tighten. And now it's very well secured in there. Okay, I got a light back on the situation, and there you have it. A nice little electrical drywall box installed, all ready for my new receptacle plug. So I hope this helped. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.